that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
You know. Not your average nigga, I'm a guy out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Them back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like I ain't.
Peace, family. It's your brother King Cam, and welcome back to the Campaign TV show. I'm your host, and this podcast is a place where we have real conversations with real people, family. So shout out to the YouTube family. I'm just want to let you know what we did, right? We were broadcasting. We was actually broadcasting from Facebook, right? We was doing the podcast from over there on Facebook, and I'm moving the camera now. Yeah. We was doing the podcast over there on Facebook, and you know, Facebook wasn't really showing us no love. They demonetized the page over there on Facebook. So I decided to say, okay, well, let me take everything that we doing on Facebook and bring it over here to YouTube, because we're trying to build up the YouTube channel. We're trying to build up the following on YouTube. We striving to get 1,000 subscribers on the channel. So I said, let me bring what we doing on Facebook over here to YouTube. So what I decided to do was stop streaming on Facebook and stream over here on YouTube. So y'all got us over here exclusively now, family. We're going to be building here from the ground up. So I need y'all to help us out. We're not going to have many viewers over here right now, but we're going to grow. So it's cool. The minister says start small and grow large. Start small and grow large. You understand me? So tonight's episode is about black youth. The episode is about black youth. Now, let me see if I can pull up these comments. Okay, cool. What's going on, Sister Felicia? Moses in the building. Peace and blessings, sis. Peace and blessings. And you know what I should have did? I should have let everybody know on Facebook that we was live on YouTube. So let me do that. Family. So while we are going to let everybody know on Facebook know that we live over here on YouTube, let me do this. We're going to do a little commercial. We're going to do a little commercial break, right? And we're going to drop some music. And in the process of dropping some music, we're going to share this out. We're going to let everybody know over from the Facebook family to join us over here on YouTube. We text it out to our text list. And they're going to join us over here. And then we're going to move into our show. I got a clip of the minister that I want to drop. Oh, man, we got some good stuff lined up. So it's going to be a really good show. Let me pull this up, though. Pull our music up, because this is definitely a banger. So if you haven't heard this record I'm about to drop, it is Brother Ben X featuring Young Con and Don, called 9 to 5. It's called 9 to 5. And I like the song because that song is an inspiration for all entrepreneurs, right? All entrepreneurs. So I want y'all to check this out. It's Brother Ben X featuring Young Con and Don, called 9 to 5. And y'all gonna like this record, so we're gonna drop this. I gotta get this on my sound box, actually. I gotta get this on my road. I don't have it on the road, so we gotta do it the long way real quick. Yeah. All right, bet. So look, this is Brother Ben X, Young Con and Don. Let's go.
Brother Ben X and Young Con and Don.
I said I'm finna go
live.
Brother Ben X and Young Con and Don.
I'm finna go live, put my 9 to 5. Finna go home, boys, finna be a vibe. Vibe. They say take a leave, so I went to the dive. I'm finna go live, put my my 9 to 5. Finna go home, boys, finna be a vibe. Finna be a vibe. They say take a leap, so I went took a dive. To do for self on my own. Bossed up, got a car and a home, and I did it on my phone. I'ma show you how to get it strong. Get the bag and it don't take long, and you don't need a loan. You don't need a boss or a master. Get the right team and it's faster. This a new chapter. Gotta learn the business in the game. Every day new money, new change. Adapt to the lane. It ain't about the bread but the brain. Work hard, play hard, new fame. No more chains. No more chains. I'm finna go live, put my 9 to 5. Finna go home, boys, finna be a vibe. Finna be a vibe. They say take a leave, so I went took a dive. I'm finna go live, put my 9 to 5. Finna go home, boys, finna be a vibe. Finna be a vibe. They say take a leap, so I went took a dive.
I'm finna go live on IG. Sorry, but a 9 to 5 is not me. I'ma do myself until I die. You already know the vibe when I speak. Do not sleep, cuz in 20 months made 91K. What you doing 40 hours I can do in one day. With digital real estate that I own, all I need is Wi-Fi and my phone. Get into it, pursue it, I show you how to do it. You got a gift inside you, but you never knew it. Let me put you in the game, I've been a coach. Everything I do is dope, man, I'm finna go
live, put my 9 to 5. Finna go home, boys, finna be a vibe. Finna be a vibe. They say take a leave, so I went took a dive. I'm finna go live, put my 9 to 5. Finna go home, boys, finna be a vibe. Finna be a vibe. They say take a leap, so I went took a dive. Went took a
Brother BNX.
Yeah.
Kinda done. Brother BNX. And young kinda done.
Yeah. Hey, family, listen, man. Y'all heard it right there. That's Brother Ben X, Young Con, the Don family. So y'all can go and pick that up on brotherbenxmusic.com, or you can go to his Instagram page and you can click the link in his bio, and you will have that whole you'll be able to get that record, family. So look, now let's get into it. So again, we building over here on YouTube, so it's gonna be real intimate tonight. But I want this conversation to be a really good, positive conversation. So I want y'all to hit the comment section. I want you to share this out to as many people as possible. Sister Felicia, if you could just share the link out, you know what I'm saying, on your other social media platforms, it'll be real dope to go ahead and get that shared out. I shared it out on my Facebook page to everybody that we over here. So I let them know that we over here, and I text out the link. So anybody that want to join us, they'll get on over here. But I really wanted to talk about the Young Thug and Gunna and the YSL RICO indictments, right? I've been following the case. I've been watching interviews. I've been trying to hear as much perspective and commentary on it as I possibly can, because I've been trying to get as educated as I possibly can on what's going on, right? So, as I listen to the commentary and the different things that I hear about the case, is so many things that come to mind. And what I've been able to gather so far is that this has to be something larger than just gang violence. This has to be something larger than just gang violence. Now, I was going through the transcript. I've been going through the transcript trying to, get a better understanding of everything that they've been charged with. Trying to get a better understanding of everything that they've been charged with. And it's quite a lot. It's a lot, and you got to read through a lot of the fine print. But they have charged Gunna with obviously the RICO. They charged Thug with the RICO charge, and then they charged them with committing gang activity. Now, when you go down, matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up. I have it pulled up on my phone. I think I had to pull it up on my phone. And I was reading it. Because you could pull an indictment up, right? So let me see. RICO indictment. So you could PDF. So I was literally reading it because I want to be very, very, very familiar with what's going on. Not just necessarily giving commentary, but really want to be as thorough as possible when it comes to this, right? Because it's 28 of them that have been indicted on this charge. Okay, and now I can't see. Hold on, let me look on my phone. Nope, and my computer died. So when the computer died, you know, everything that you was looking at before go away. Young Thug, Gunna, RICO indictment PDF. Yeah, it should come up. Hold on, because I'm trying to find the indictment so I can read it. Hold on, YSL. Let me type this in. YSL. Maybe that'll help. I think this is it right here. I think this is it. Okay, so like I said, I was trying to go through. No, this is kind of it, but this ain't it. This ain't the one I was reading before. Let me see if I can get another one. But yeah, so no, that's from this complex. Everything we need to know about Gunna, Young Thug. No, this ain't it neither. This complex. Man, I just had it. I was just looking at it. And now I can't find it now. Either way, but as I'm reading through, right? As I'm reading through this. Okay, hold on. We might be golden, y'all. We might be golden. Let me share my screen. Okay, so can I skip to the next one though? That's the thing. Okay, that's the conspiracy. Okay. So what I might have to do is I might have to skip through these, get to where I want to go, and then I can pull it back up on the screen. All right, so allow. All right, so let me just close that out. All right, so I wanted to go through the indictment because, again, I want to be as familiar as I could be with this case. Okay, I want to be as familiar as I could be with this case because for some reason I've had trepidations about everything that's been going on, you know, and I've been watching. I'm a Young Thug. I don't know if I can say a Young Thug fan, but I've been tapped into Thug for a minute. I like some of Gunna stuff. I'm a hip hop fan. I'm a fan of the culture, so I'm always tapped in that manner. And you know, as I see certain things begin to unfold, I have to look deeper into it. So when the indictments first came down, I said, wow, okay, RICO charges. Now I had to learn that Georgia got their own RICO. I had to learn that Georgia had their own RICO, which is separate from a federal RICO, okay? So that was something new that I learned. But as we learned that, and I had to place all of this over, what the minister has taught us. So the minister in the 1980s, he delivered a press conference that said that the Joint Chief of Staff and that George Bush was planning a war against black people in America. Not only were they planning a war overseas, but they were planning a war on their own soil against black people in America and the Nation of Islam, particularly black youth. This is very important because all of this stuff tie in. See, crack coming into the ghettos in the 1980s was a part of the war. See, Nixon starting it, Reagan continuing it with the war on drugs as the Trojan horse that would be used to infiltrate the communities and infiltrate the minds of the American people to set us up on a grand stage for what would happen behind the scenes, which is an all-out assault on black people in America. And this comes out later on. You know, people that were in presidential cabinets and things of that nature begin to make confessions that the war and the ops, if you will, the enemies of the United States government was the anti-war left and black people. This is a documented fact. The anti-war left and black people were enemies of the United States government. So this dates back even prior to the 80s, back to the 60s, when Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated and a lot of young black men rose up in the cities and contributed to the riots. I want you to hear me, right? I want you to hear me. Contributed to the riots. So when they saw the cities burn after what happened to Dr. Martin Luther King, they didn't want any black youth standing up again. They didn't want any black youth standing up again. So their plan moving forward was we have to put a halt to the black man and his ability to rise up against us. We had to put a stop to the black man's ability to rise up against us, especially when we come against one of their leaders. So they decided that we have to move now chemically as a weapon of war against the black community because it will neutralize the black male. So we can chemically assault him as well as utilize and criminalize drugs in impoverished communities to criminalize him and throw him in jail. So their plan was, let's criminalize their activities so that we can justifiably put them in jail, i.e., as you get up into the 90s, the 1994 crime bill that swept across America, locking up black men, but it was so many different steps that came prior to that. But it was all for the purpose to fulfill the end goal, which is to eliminate the black man. It's the war on the black man. Well, what does that have to do with YSL? So we went from Dr. King assassination, the riots, to the 80s, right, where they put crack in the black community, in impoverished community. They criminalized the behavior. They criminalized the communities. They started locking people up. They started an all-out assault in the black community. Then you got Nixon, who coined the war on drugs. See? Then you had Reagan, just say no to drugs. Well, now they went from figuratively speaking in Nixon's campaign to just paint the picture to figuratively a war on drugs and just say no. So everything that was drug related was criminalized and people was getting locked up for it. And this shifted the power in politics because the Republicans were seeming strong on crime. So the Americans were seeming like they were safer under a Republican regime. So any Democrats that rose up, you had to be strong on crime. So here come Clinton in the 90s and Hillary talking about super predators and classifying black men as super predators, painting that picture of black men as super predators. So then the crime bill follows that. And when the crime bill follows that, it militarizes the police, gives them more resources, and then sweeps across America, locking black men up in record numbers. So you got the 80s with the crime, with the crack. And then at the end of the 80s, they start busting everybody that had crack and throwing them in jail. And the crime bill just opened it up for mass incarceration an explosion of privatization of prisons, where now you begin to make money, private investors making money off of the misfortune and the criminal activity that was seeping out of the black community, fostered by the U.S. government. Now, what does that have to do with Thug? What does that have to do with Gunna? What does that have to do with YSL? Well, because they never address the real problem here. Never addressing the real problem, which is the conditions and the environment that creates the opportunities or the lack of opportunities for black men and black women. But now you have brothers and sisters that's in hip hop, that's in the music industry. And in the music now has gang affiliate ties. And in those gang affiliate ties is criminal activities. Whether the artists are participating or not participating is a whole nother conversation. But the gang affiliation is there. And what the government has done now, it says, how do we tie in the superstar rappers that's affiliated with gang members to the criminal activities that the gang members are performing so that we can shut the whole operation down? And this is what I see happening with Thug, because this is deeper than just cleaning up the streets of Atlanta, Southwest Atlanta. Because if they really wanted to clean up the streets, they would have cleaned up the streets. They would have had initiatives to clean up Southwest Atlanta. That's not what they're trying to do. This is a political move. I believe that there are people who have political aspirations, and we know when you have big marquee blockbuster indictments and convictions, those help political aspirations. We see that one mayor that's leaving on up out of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, is on her way to go hang out with Jim Crow Joe. She about to go hang out with Jim Crow Joe. Beloved Keisha, that we used to have songs about because she was the governor of Atlanta and she was supposed to be so down. She left up out of Atlanta and on her way to go hang out with Jim Crow Joe. And now we got a new mayor in Atlanta, Brother Andre Dickens. And the verdict is still out. So again, if it was about cleaning up Southwest Atlanta, there would be initiatives to do so. So now you got a DA in Fulton County, and now they got Thug and they got YSL operating as a company. But now we got to look at the activity. So it's important. And all right, family, as you listen and tap in, I need you to share this out. Let me go into the comment section to see what we got going on. Like I said, she said I shared your podcast. Sister Felicia said I shared your podcast. Let me see. Oh, Facebook. Oh, fake book and Twitter. Yeah, it is definitely fake book, sis. That's a fact. That's a fact. Ever since I was born in Generation X, they tried to depress us children, saying we were an X generation, middle 70s babies, because we were potentially lost. Right. That's all good. But if your music is promoting genocide against your own people, I can't support that. Hey, Soldier for Real Life. Soldier for Real Life said that's all good, but if your music is promoting genocide against our own people, I can't support that. I can't support that neither. But that's not what we're talking about. Just because you got music that's promoting the genocide of our people doesn't mean that you fall under the RICO charges. It's not the same thing. You understand me? That's not the same thing. So while I agree with you, that's not what we're talking about. All right. So she said, Rakim said Keisha Lance Bottom also tied with the WEF. So, WEF, I don't even know what that stands for. Where I want to say is World Something Fun, but I'm not exactly sure what WEF stands for. But So again, and let me make this clear. We're not supporting, right? We're not supporting any illegal activities that may have or may not have taken place that Young Thug and Gunna may have been a part of. We're not supporting any illegal or criminal activity. So let me just go ahead and say that before you get in the comments section saying that we are supporting illegal activity or some sort. No, we're not supporting no type of behavior like that. No. Well, what I'm addressing is the fact that there's a war against black youth, and that the mistakes of Thug's past are being used against him in the present as a Trojan horse, as a reason to take him down, when the real reason to take him down don't have nothing to do with the things that he did in 2010 or 2013. Because if it was about the crimes he committed in 2010 or 2013, allegedly, if you have him on record, why not take him to jail and make him pay for his crimes? But you wait till 2022 to bring up what he did in 2010 and 2013, after the fact that he just had received a large amount of land and was looking to build a solar city in Atlanta. After him and Gunna had went into Fulton County jail and bailed out a lot of non-violent criminals. After Thug and Gunna would be given back to the community. After Thug and Gunna Thug established YSL as a company and started to hire inner city boys and girls to work under the YSL brand. All of a sudden now you want to bring back crimes from 2013. All of a sudden now you want to bring back crimes from 2010. And then tie him to all these other people that's associated with YSL and say that Thug is running some type of gang organization. And now we getting to where all of this stuff is leading to. A World Economic Forum. Okay, Rakim, I'm not familiar with that, brother. You had to educate me on that one. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that. So now you wanna tie what he did in 2010, 2013 to what's happening to him in 2022? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So we got to understand the different dynamics that's going on. I kind of broke down some of the political aspect, but you got to look at the music aspect as well. You got to look at the music aspect as well. All right? Because the music aspect is very important. Because you got to look at who's behind these labels. You have to look at who's pushing the drill music. You have to look at who's promoting and have a monetary interest or just interest at all in drill music. I mentioned the fact that with the 94 crime bill introduced the privatization of private prisons, right? Or the privatization of prisons. So now private citizens as investors could build prisons and be paid off of the inmates. So there's an incentive now to get inmates because it's become a business. It's not something set up to help mitigate the crime in the community. So you got to create a facility to put criminals in it. Not as a help or as a service, but it's as a business now. So there's financial gains, financial means, there's bottom line. So now it's an incentive on the states. It's an incentive on the government, local and state government, to have inmates and criminals because they got private prisons. And some of the people that work in these state governments have investments in private prisons. And not to mention, these record labels have investments in private prisons. So with these record labels having investments in private prisons, what does that mean? That means they have a vested interest in making sure that the music is filthy, that the music is criminalized, that the music is promoting violence against yourself and against your brother and against somebody that look like you, putting the battery in the back of the youth to go out and commit crimes so that they can get caught up in the web and get funneled right into the private prisons. So this whole thing is a vicious cycle. This whole thing is a vicious cycle. Soldier for Life said, I have to agree. There's an agenda. Dr. Wesley exposed that. Yeah, definitely an agenda. We definitely got to be accountable, though. And that's what I said. We not holding Thug and Gunna accountable for what they did. We not holding Thug and Gunna account. We not gonna alleviate their accountability for what they did. We're not saying that they're not accountable for what they did, but we still have to point out the bigger hands at play. Just because Thug and Gunna are guilty of what they did, does that mean that those who facilitated the whole thing get away? No, sir. No, sir. No, we're not doing it like that. We're not doing it like that because, again, you got to be just and be equitable. The Quran says you got to be equitable. So if you're going to be equitable, you need to hold all those who are accountable, not just Thug and Gunna and YSL or YFN. You need to hold everybody that's accountable. So all of them, including the record labels, including everybody who's part of the whole situation. You got to be just and you got to be equitable. And that's what this is about. So with YSL, they under 300. 300 is under Warner. Now we know 300 is Leo Cohen. See? We know that 300 is Leo Cohen. We know that Leo Cohen has a vested interest in drill music. We know that Leo Cohen has a vested interest in drill music. So if Leo in 300 has a vested interest in drill music, remember they signed Chief Keef. They signed a lot of people out of Chicago. You know, drill music is heavy with violence. And because drill music is heavy with violence, this is what they wanted. Why? Because now you can permeate the airways with violent music, facilitating inmates into private prisons, which make money for the label on the back end, because the labels now in 2022, with the advent of social media, they're not making money off the music that they used to. They're not making money off the music that they used to now. See, artists don't need labels no more. Artists don't need labels no more to get money. You can get 10,000, 15,000, 25,000, 50,000 a show off your social media if you popping and know how to promote. If you hot and you know how to promote, then you can get money off your social media platforms, sell your own tickets, create your own tours, do your own shows, and don't have to do no type of 50-50 splits. Don't have to do no type of 360 deals. Don't have to do any of that. So right now, labels is struggling when it comes to the money. They can't get no money. Streaming platforms. You don't got to buy no CDs. You ain't got to go through the labels to get no type of music now. So they're not making money off of the artists in that traditional manner anymore. So now they say, well, damn. The only way we going to make money now is we got to make it on the back end. So how we making money on the back end is being distributors of the music. But what we're going to do is we're going to invest in private prisons so those who the music is promoted to become criminalized and go to jail, which pay us on the back end. So we got to now continue to find rappers that's going to continue to rap about violence. You understand what I'm saying? We're not going to go and find no rappers that's talking about nothing positive, because there's plenty of them out there, but we don't want them. So don't tell me that Leo Cohen and 300 or no other label don't know nothing about no positive artists that they can sign. No, they want to sign drill rappers on purpose. They want to sell drill. They want to sign drill rappers on purpose because drill rappers make the music that's going to get them paid on the back end when them young people hear the music and go out and commit crimes. That's a fact. It's a fact. So we got to address what's going on on a deeper level. Because if you guilty of committing crimes, you got to go and you got to serve the time. You got to pay. You got to do that. You did the crime, you served the time. We not exonerating anybody of that. But those people who are involved in the grand scheme also have to be called out. But the way that they painting the picture, they making it seem like that this is a single solitary incident of black men perpetuating gang and criminal activity, as if the United States government has no hands on this, as if the United States government does not know anything about this, as if state government is unaware of what's going on. But you don't see them having no sweeping indictments against 300 and Leo Cohen. How you don't have indictments against the ones who are going to get these rappers and facilitating them with money? You're facilitating them with the money. So how are you not indicting them, and they're literally bankrolling these artists to make this music? They're literally bankrolling these artists to make this music. And now those who listen to the music are going out and committing the crimes. And those who are around the rappers are going out and committing the crimes. Because when you look through the indictment, you have Gunna and Young Thug being pulled over for speeding, having weapons on them and things like that. But it's not illegal to carry weapons in Georgia. So as long as the weapons are legal, then there's nothing wrong with the weapons, with them carrying weapons, right? You have some possession of stolen property back in 2015, possession of illegal or stolen property by Young Thug and Gunna, possession of drugs, okay? What was it? Hydrocodone and methamphetamine, I believe. Back in 2015. Then they get the speeding charge, I think, in 2017 with the guns. And then you got them charged or listed as being either on social media platforms, taking a picture in affiliation with YSL, or being in a video affiliated with YSL. And then they bringing up the lyrics of the songs and trying to tie them into crimes. And now on top of that, they're trying to take the lyrics of the songs, tie them into crimes. And it's like, how are you distinguishing which songs are artistic songs and which ones are actually literal songs that had to do with literal cases, if any? So Boosie actually spoke on this. And that's because they tried to do the same thing to him. And he said one of the days throughout his trial, all they did was listen to Boosie music and try to connect his music to the case. See? Tried to connect the music to the case. And it's like, because I grew up in a particular environment, I know certain individuals, or I may even have been a part of it in my past life, doesn't mean that because I rapped about it, it's current. Doesn't mean that I rapped about it and that it's something that's happening today. So we really got to pay attention to this, because what they're trying to do in the public is they're trying to paint a picture of Young Thug and Gunna to be these gang leaders and criminal organizational bosses who are contributing to 80% of the violence in Atlanta, in Southwest Atlanta, and that's just not true. And even when it comes to YFN Lucci, Boosie said that man is not no head of no criminal organization. This is not the case. But this is the picture that they're going to paint. And I told you before, Hillary Clinton did the exact same thing with super predators. They want to paint this picture first, because when they get ready to lock everybody up, they can justify. Now let me go through this. Let me pull up this indictment and show y'all what I'm talking about. Because really, if you go through a lot of these charges that they have, they weak. They got, again, Gunna on the RICO, and they got Thug on the RICO, right? So let me skip on through this, because they got like 56 counts. See? And this thing don't even have everything, because I was reading way more than this. So they got like 56 counts, and they only got Thugger on 2 counts, and they got Gunna on 1 count. Both of them are on the conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, which is the RICO. And then the second one, which they got Thug on, which is the last one, 56. Count 56. They don't even have it on here. Which is basically, count 56 is participation in gang activity. That's 56. And this one don't even have it on here. So, but like I said, the other stuff where they started highlighting incidents and everything like that, they have no correlation. They literally have no correlation. Outside of your drug cases, outside of your drug charges, you don't really have nothing that sticks. They got Thug in 2015 renting a 2014 Infinity that was used, I believe, 3 days later by 5 other people. Thug not even named. That was used by 5 other people in a murder. Now, how you tie that to Young Thug outside of the fact that he was the one that rented the vehicle, I don't know. Because if you don't have video footage, if you don't have forensic evidence that can tie Young Thug to the scene, then I don't understand how he is culpable. If he goes and rents a vehicle and then somebody else is driving it 2 days later and then they go commit a murder, how is that his fault? I'm just saying, that's just what that one particular situation. But what I want to do too is I want to bring, I got to bring the minister in because I want him to help us to understand what this war is looking like and what he has coined as justifiable homicide. Because see, the enemy puts us in such a condition that now when the killing takes place, it's justifiable in his eyes not to stop it, but to add to it. And then he can turn away and say, well, look, you killing yourself, so how you gonna come at us for killing you? I'm gonna say it again. See, the enemy puts us in a condition. And then once he has us acting other than ourselves, he can justify to those watching the homicide of you and I. So he has us acting other than self. And now we are the progenitors of violence against self, against our brothers and sisters. So when he enacts violence against us, it's justifiable homicide because he says, listen, y'all are animals and savages to your own people. So don't come and talk to me when one of my people take out your people, but y'all are savages among yourselves. And this is what the minister has been trying to get us to understand. And this is what brother was saying in the comment section. We have to be held accountable. So in that regard, we have to be held accountable. So that's why I said we're not alleviating anybody of their accountability. If you committed any crimes, you got to pay for that. But that still doesn't absolve the enemy for putting us in the condition to act other than ourselves. I'm going to let the minister take it from here. Watch this for a little bit.
Not one spirit, but as by one man sin entered into the world. See, the world was already operating. People were already here. But as by one man sin entered in, I'm going to place a ruler in the earth. And he's going to create mischief and cause the shedding of blood. Well, when he placed that ruler, as by one man sin entered. What is sin? Transgression of the law. Rebellion against God is sin. Well, you didn't do that. Adam did that. So the Bible says, as that one man brought sin, then death came by sin. and death has passed to all men, for all men now have sinned. All are in rebellion because a ruler that you would be bound to follow is a rebel. That's why God is hard on leaders. Because if any man would be your leader and he's a rebellion person against God, then what will you be who follow him? So the Caucasian has been our ruler. And he has always been a rebel against God. Follow this. As by one man's sin entered into the world, and death came by sin, and all men have sinned, so death has passed to all men. Now the mischief begins. See, right now, brothers, it's mischievous for you to be a BD, a GD, or another gangster, whatever you call yourself, and you hate your brother. See, that's mischief. Because you all are brothers. How did you get to hate each other? Because one wears one color, one wears another, one gives one gang sign, one gives another. See, the enemy is making mischief among us, and what is it causing? Is it causing peace? Is it causing brotherhood? Or is it causing the shedding of blood? Don't feel bad, because this ruler has caused the shedding of blood throughout the earth. He's put Muslims, Christians, and Jews against each other. He come right in the straight path. He put Buddhists, Hindus. I'm just dealing with religious people now. But here are people that believe in God, and they're killing one another in God's name. Now there's all these political things. One is a Democrat, one is a socialist, one is a communist, one is this or that. And these political parties, these political entities are at odds with each other. Some are rich, some are poor, some are white, some are black, some are educated, some are uneducated, but we're all confused, fighting each other. What will you create in the earth but that which will create mischief and cause the shedding of blood? Well, who is this dude? Who is he? Who is this Adam and his children? He said, I'm going to give you dominion over the fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, and every creeping thing that crawls. You don't have it, but the white man has it. And in his dominion over everything, he has poisoned the air, the water, the land. Talk to me. God, I'm a little afraid now. This man teaching hate. Stop it. Stop it. I'm too intelligent for that. It is not about teaching somebody to hate somebody. It's about teaching you to know who the ruler is that put you at odds with yourself, with your brother, and with God. Has dominion and power. In the Genesis, he comes in as Adam and a serpent. Jesus is having a fight with some of them in the book of John. the 8th chapter and the 44th verse. And this argument, started in the 39th verse. Jesus is talking to some Jews. Now, this is not anti-Semitism. I'm sorry. This is your Bible. The Bible. The Bible. Now, if they don't like that, then naturally they're going to try to change it. Jesus was talking to the Jews, and he said to them, I know that you are Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me. See, here's murder now. But this isn't just some murder. This is murder of a human being whom God sent into the world to remove the curse of Adam and death and bring all back to God. This is Jesus. Jesus said, you seek to kill me because my word has no place in you. Ooh. When you think about a man from God in whom God is indwelling in Jesus, and Jesus is telling some people that the word out of his mouth has no place in them, then if it is the word that will bring life from death, and if a people don't want to listen to that word, then they are death itself. Jesus went on, I speak that which I have seen with my Father, and ye do that which you have seen with your father. Now, in this argument that Jesus is making with the Jews of his day, he recognizes his father, but he also recognizes they are coming from a different father.
All right. So I had to stop the minister right there because I felt like that was important. And what the minister was breaking down was the overall hand that goes into play when you looking at situations that we looking at today. So shout out to the Instagram family. I just brought them in here. We live on the podcast right now, the Campaign TV show. I'm your host, Brother King Cam, and the link is to YouTube, so you can follow the YouTube channel, man. We on our road to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're interested in subscribing to the YouTube channel and tapping in over there, family, you can find us at Brother King Cam on YouTube. Brother King Cam on YouTube. And tonight, the podcast, we're talking about the attack on black youth, specifically dealing with the Young Thug YSL RICO situation, right? We dealing with that because there's a deeper plot to this. This is not just about what they're trying to say is cleaning up Southwest Atlanta. We're trying to bring the crime rate down. That's not what this is about. Because if it was about bringing the crime rate down, then they would employ resources to Southwest Atlanta. I don't live that far from Cleveland Avenue, where YSL originated from. When you ride through Cleveland, they don't have no resources going to Cleveland Avenue. I'm going to keep it 100. I got to keep it 100. They don't have no whole bunch of resources going over there. So if it's about cleaning up the community and making it a safe and decent place to live, then you do that. But you getting RICO charges and indictments is not you trying to clean up the community. More so, it's those who have political aspirations looking to get big Hollywood indictments that will help propel their political aspirations. Right? And this is what you have going on. So does that mean that we absolving anybody that had committed any criminal activity? Absolutely not. If you committed any criminal activity, then you have to pay the price for that, because once you know better, once you know the truth, and once you know better, then you have to deal with whatever consequences that come based on the decisions that you make after you know. But as we go through the indictment, we went through the indictment a little bit. As we go through the indictment, these are things that they're talking about that happened in 2010, 2013, 2015, 2017. They're trying to piece little things together, and they're trying to make a case out of it. They're trying to piece different things together, and then they're trying to make a case out of it. They using lyrics. They using speeding tickets, and the fact that they got pulled over with weapons. It's not illegal for you to have weapons in the state of Georgia. It's not illegal for you to have weapons in the state of Georgia, and I mean big guns. In the South, you can have big guns. Now, if you from Chicago, Philly, New York, you up north, Jersey, you don't know nothing about this. Because see, up there, they can't have no guns. But in the South, you can have guns, and I'm not talking about no little nines or no little... You know what I'm saying? No little, no, you can have big guns. You can have big guns, brawling guns. It's no law stopping you from getting that. All right. So, with that being the case, that's not a crime. So what are we trying to put together? What are we trying to piece together here? This goes back to the war on the youth that the minister had warned us about. And recently, I know Instagram, y'all didn't hear this, but the minister was in justifiable homicide was talking about how the one that would be created, a ruler that will be placed in the earth who would cause mischief and the shedding of blood, is the ringleader for this behavior. He's the ringleader for this behavior. Naturally, left alone in your natural state will be peaceful. Left alone in our natural state to worship the God that we serve, we will be in a peaceful state of mind. All of this extra animated activity that you see going on comes because we've been raised by one, we've been taught by one who is a wicked ruler. And does what? Cause the shedding of blood. That's a fact. So because we've seen that, we've been taught that, he has caused us to act other than ourselves. And then he's created environmental factors, environmental situations that increase the pressure, that cause you to become animalistic in your thinking, and cause you to become the predator who hunts down your own brothers and sisters. That's what happens in our communities each and every day, family. Each and every day you have this going on. Each and every day you see one of us being the predator hunting one of our brothers and sisters down. And it's because we've been made other than ourselves. We've been made other than ourselves, and we have not. I have to throw the accountability in there, because Soldier for Life gonna get me. We got to throw the accountability in there. We have not listened to proper guidance, because we don't have no excuses today on why we still acting the way we acting. We don't have no excuses today why we still eating the way we eating. We don't have no excuses today why our relationships are so jacked up. But other than the fact that we refuse to listen to divine guidance, because the minister has taught on relationships. The minister has taught on how to eat to live. The minister has taught on the accountability that we have to have in the love for the brotherhood, the love for the sisterhood. The minister that gave us all the game. So now, after you know the truth and you continue to behave in the manner in which you behaved before the truth came to you, now you got to suffer the chastisement of God. It's out the hands of the messenger at this point. It's out the hands of anybody trying to give you good guidance at this point, because you don't want good guidance. You want and need the chastisement of God to get yourself together. And sad to say that the chastisement of God going to land some of us in jail. It's going to land some of us in a place that we don't want to be. Some of us ain't going to make it. That's just real rap. We not going to make it because we don't have time to keep playing around with God. We don't have time to play around with the messenger of God, because the Quran says obedience to the messenger is obedience to God himself. So if you want to try to circumvent the messenger, the warner, and say, oh, I'm just listening to God, but you go circumvent what his man say, oh, well, guess what? That means you have deviated. That means you going around what God told you to do, and you doing what you want to do. And this is why you see our community in the situation that it's in today. This is why you see us in the condition, because of our unwillingness to submit to the will of God. So that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. So that's why I say we're not totally absolving anybody who committed any crimes dealing specifically with this YSL and Young Thug and Gunna situation, because if you are guilty of a crime, you need to be paying for that crime. The issue that I have specifically with this is, if it's about the crimes that they allegedly committed, why not have taken them to jail in 2013? Why not arrested them and taken them to jail and made them pay for the crimes in 2015, 2017? Why now in 2022 are you circling back? Why in 2022 are you circling back and using 2015 as an anchor for what you want to do in 2022? What's the difference between 2022 and 2015? If it's about making those who commit crimes and tear up the community and making them pay for what they did and making them accountable for what they do, then why not make them accountable at the time that they're committing the crime? Why now come back around, circumvent, and now you're going to have a sweeping indictment for 28 people? Make it make sense. That's all we saying. Again, you have to be just and equitable in the law. Don't be just and equitable on a particular piece. Don't try to offer justice here, but don't offer justice there. Don't try to say this and say that, but you don't want to be just and equitable all across the board. And that's what you see happening here. You don't want to be just and equitable across the board, because we mentioned earlier, if you want to go after Young Thug and YSL, then you got to go after 300, because 300 is backing them. If you want to go after Young Thug and YSL, you need to go after Warner Music, because Warner Music is funding them. So we got to be just and equitable. You might have no criminal charges against the record labels, but you definitely got civil charges against the record labels, because they bankrolling this. They bankrolling the music that they saying that they don't want to have in the communities. 300 specialize in signing artists to rap about drill music. And because these record labels have special interests, because they have special interests in private prisons, then drill music helps to fill private prisons. So they have a vested interest in keeping the cycle going, family. They have a vested interest in continuing to sign drill rappers, not to sign drill rappers and encourage them to rap about positivity, not sign drill rappers and encourage them to rap about how their life has changed, not encourage them to rap about entrepreneurship and how you can take your money and invest it and get your family out of the hood. No, they want you to continue to talk about the poverty, continue to talk about the ghetto, continue to talk about the crime and the drugs, continue to talk about that, because even if you're not doing it, you're going to influence somebody else to do it. And if you influence somebody else to do it, they're going to go to jail. And when they go to jail, we get paid. So you got to be fair. You got to be fair and equitable. You got to be fair and equitable across the board. And as I mentioned earlier, for my Instagram family who just came in, this Young Thug and YSL RICO is deeper than rap. It's deeper than rap. This ain't just about no rappers. You got political people in position who jockeying and got aspirations for larger platforms, so they got to have splash indictments. You got Young Thug who just actually had 400 plus acres of land given to him on his birthday. Now he reaching out to Elon Musk like, yo, let's get this solar city popping. Now, if I'm a owner and controller on a large piece of land like 400 some acres and I can create a mini city out of it, because it can be done. You see it right down in Ponce Market in Atlanta. Ponce Market is its own city. You got living spaces, you got shopping spaces, you got food spaces. People that live in Ponce Market, they don't have to leave. They got a gym down there. They got everything you need. You don't have to leave. It's a little mini city. Now imagine Young Thug creating a little mini city under YSL and taking all the inner city youth and actually giving them a job. You know, putting businesses there and hiring them to work in the business. Taking some of the other people that he know that have some money, trying to legitimize their money and having them to start to create and build business. Now Thug has become an asset to the black community, but he become a thorn in the side and a thorn in the bottom line of the private prisons and the music industry and those other people who eating off the ignorance of black people. So no, we can't have Young Thug out here saving black people in his way. No, sir. No, sir. We can't have that going on. We can't have that going on. So we got to take him out. The minister talks about how much influence the rappers have, how much power they really have. And this is why he sit and meet with them, so he can counsel them, so that he can tell them that you got to put in your music something of good, something of righteousness, something of positivity to help change the minds of the people. This is why the minister sit with the rappers. He done sat with Thug. He done sat with Dolph. He done sat with all the rappers and told them how to change the people, how to change the people. So you don't think that the enemy is watching this? You don't think the enemy is aware of the influence that hip hop artists have over black people, specifically the youth? You don't think the enemy know that? The enemy's well aware. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad called him the universal snooper. He got satellites. He got listening devices. He got cell phones and laptops. He got everything around here to listen in the conversation. You don't think that he know the conversations that the minister has had with the rappers about changing what they put into the music to help change the trajectory of the youth from going into a negative direction into a positive direction? And you think he's just going to let that ride? Oh, shoot, if Farrakhan done told him to go ahead and change the youth, change what you're doing, change the music up so everybody can start living a righteous life, and we all just going to ride into the sunset. You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me if that's your reality. Got to be. So this is why we have to be aware of what's going on. This is why, as people say, you got to be accountable for your actions. That's why, again, once you reach a certain level, you can't be associating yourself with people who want to continue to indulge in behavior that could be detrimental to the whole. Because YSL was not just one person. YSL was a faction that fed many individuals. YSL feeds families. It's not just about Young Thug. It's not just about Gunna. This is about YSL and their impact on the community. And when you take them down, you take a part of the community down. Because I also was hearing, and some of y'all might know or do know of Lil Keed, who was a rapper here in Atlanta. He was signed to YSL, and shortly after the YSL indictments, he passes away. They say that it is organ failure, but the toxicology report has not come back yet to be able to verify how he really died, because he was only 24 years old. At 24 years old, you don't have organ failure. So what the streets are saying is that it was a drug overdose. But Lil Keed, the reason why I bring him up is because Lil Keed was one of those who actually benefited from YSL. He was signed to the label as a rapper. He was coming out of poverty. He was being able to bring his family out of poverty. Somebody said he was on the snitching papers. I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that. We can't be dropping them jewels unless we got actual facts. But he was benefiting from YSL. And once you take YSL out the picture, shout out to Young Con and Don. Once you take YSL out of the picture, now you are tearing down multiple factions, multiple families, multiple individuals. All of that is gone. So you can just imagine how somebody had put all of their eggs in that basket of YSL, and he had a promising hip hop music career, and then they snatched the whole thing. Imagine how that feel on a 24-year-old. You know they can't take no pressure. You know anything that happened, boy, it's shaky for the youth because they built different. So you do that, drug overdose is easy to see. It's easy to see. You understand? So we have to keep our eyes open, and we have to be aware. This is why the minister said that our righteousness will sustain us. Our righteousness will sustain us. Because not only will it allow us to dodge the traps of Satan, but it will allow us, even if Satan was to try to run up on us, now he don't have nothing that he don't have no leg to stand on. See, when you're not doing nothing, Satan don't have no leg to stand on. He can only stand on a leg if you give it to him. He can only stand on the wickedness that you do if you give it to him. So the minister said our righteousness will sustain us, which means that if you're clean, when the police pull you over, it ain't too much they can do. All you gotta do is be respectful. They do their business. I want to search the car, search it. You understand? Boom. You clean, you good to go. Minister talked about his own personal experience with that. But you gotta be right. The God not gonna protect you if you're not right. You can't be out here doing wrong and then expecting God to protect you in your wrongness, in your incorrectness. This is why we gotta clean up. This is why we got to strive to do better each and every day. We got to be working on aspects of self-improvement, which is the basis for community development. So we got to be looking at ourselves each and every day and say, I got to clean that up. Damn, I shouldn't have said that. I got to work on the language. I got to work on that relationship. You understand me? I got to work on that slimy, grimy behavior that business that I was doing that's not right. I got to work on that. See, we got to clean up. But see, God does not put down his full chastisement if we are what? If we're in repentance, if we're in forgiveness, if we're striving, then the God not going to bring down his whole chastisement on us. He's not going to bring down the whole chastisement on us. It's not until we are fully in rebellion, which God say, you know what? Let him have the full chastisement now. Because I gave him a messenger. I gave him a warner. I had Farrakhan teaching them for 60 plus years. Before that, they had the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Before that, I came myself and taught 25,000. So at this point, if they don't got it now, I got to bring the whole house down on them to clean everything up. And this is what you're saying happening today. This is what you're saying happening today. That's why you can't fully absolve the brothers for what's going on, right? Because they play a role and are accountable for the position that they in as well, because they allowed their affiliations to continue to stay tied to them. And when you allow those affiliations because of emotions or, whatever else is going on to continue to stay tied to you, then these are the things that happen. Satan has a leg to stand on. As long as he got a leg to stand on, we're going to be in trouble. Because remember, the God is coming to clear the world of the unrighteous. He's coming to clear the planet of Satan. We in the way. We in the way. So what God is trying to do through his messenger and through his Messiah is to get us out the way. Go with the Messiah so that I can remove Satan. This is what God is asking us to do. We just being hard-headed. We telling, no, God, I can't go with you because I don't want to work on self. So I still want to kind of do my thing. No, God, I don't want to work with you because you a little racist, God. You a little hypocritical, God, in what you're saying. So if I can't take white people with me, God, I don't want to go with you because I don't feel like that's right. I feel like we all supposed to be together. I love everybody. I want to be with everybody. We need to be together in a rainbow coalition. We need to be together, working together, holding hands, singing kumbaya, smoking weed together. That's what we supposed to be doing, God. So because I know this and you don't know that, I ain't going with you, God. See? That's our mentality. That's how we acting. And this is why God is going to get rid of all of those with that mentality. Black, white, red, yellow, indifferent, don't matter to him. The righteous over the wicked. Point blank, period. So, it's 12 a.m. on the East Coast. We've been rocking for about an hour and a half, family. And I'm going to close it down. But I want to come back for part 2. I want to come back for part 2 here on the Campaign TV show. Not this week coming up, but following the next week, because this is going to be an ongoing case with YSL, with Young Thug. So we're going to be continuing to watch as these things unfold and as different things start to manifest. We're going to continue to talk about this because I think it needs to be talked about, especially as they try to paint them brothers in the light of super predators. This is what I was mentioning earlier about how the wicked hand is behind this. And y'all notice how in the 90s, when the Democrats needed to be tough on crime, they had to come out and they had to paint black men as criminals. Hillary Clinton's famous title for black men is super predators. And when she titled us super predators, and then they took one bad black man and put him up as the token for all black men, to say this is how they all act and we gotta stop super predators. She painted the picture and put the fear in the minds of the people, which allowed them to justify the government's passing of the 94 crime bill, which what? Unproportionately affected who? Black community. Took away all the black men. Anytime you was associated with anything violent, they were locking you up. You could have pushed somebody out your way and you going to jail. So, same exact thing is happening today. They're trying to paint this picture of Young Thug and Gunna, young black men with money, as being dangerous because they have affiliations. So, my man Soldier for Life said, right, that's crazy. They're trying to dehumanize our youth so others won't feel any remorse if violence is enacted against our youth. Absolutely. So then when you have a George Floyd situation, or Tamir Rice or Mike Brown, then the people are looking at, oh, well, them black boys was criminals anyway. Them black boys was gang affiliated anyway. So don't nobody care if the police kill them. Don't nobody care if the police chop them down. Don't nobody care if any of these white supremacist extremists come through and clear out the black community and the hell of gunfire. Don't nobody care about none of that because they was killing each other anyway. That's what the enemy wants you to believe. That's what the enemy wants you to think. That's what the enemy wants you to feed into so that they can continue to push their plan to eliminate us once and for all, because their goal is to take as many of us down as possible because they can't stop God from taking them down. So they said, to hell with it. We're going to take as many of them with us as we can. So with that being said, family, I want to go ahead and close out to my Instagram family. What I need y'all to do, if this was valuable to you, I do, and I want to let the podcast people know as well too. I got a new private community that's going to be launching July 1st. Got a private community. It's called The Influencers. the influencers community. And not only are we going to be learning how to build our brands online and things of that nature, but we're also going to be learning ways that we are going to influence positivity in our families, in our communities, in our relationships. So that's why I called it the influencers community. And it's only going to be $50 a month for the first 100 people to lock in. So right now, what I am doing is I'm asking everyone who may be interested in building your brand, building your platform on social media. If you want to be a part of my private community, I need you to text the word influence to 404-737-1030. When you text that number, you're going to be on the list to receive the link to sign up once we go live. Once we start to go live and we start to get all of the everything together and we start accepting sign-ups and payment, you can get to go ahead. You get first dibs at putting your $50 in. You get to go ahead and get locked in for $50. And in the private community, you're going to get to be in a private session with me one-on-one twice a week, right? We're going to get on the Zoom twice a week. We're going to be going over tips and strategies. I'm going to be walking you through things with your brand, things that you can implement. I'm going to be giving you homework. We're going to be going over stuff. Man, it's going to be a beautiful experience. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to be doing self-improvement. You're going to get exclusive access to different things that I got going on. All of that's going to be happening in the private community. So if it's something that you're interested in being a part of, text the word influence. Text the word influence to 404-737-1030 if you're interested in being part of that private community. If you want to be a part of the private podcast community, then you can just text podcast to that same number as well. All right, family. So we are gonna go ahead and get out of here. It's 12:06. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Shout out to the Instagram family. I'm gonna holler at y'all later because we getting ready to close out on the live broadcast. But that was that, family. I appreciate you, and may Allah continue to bless you with the light of understanding. And we leave you in the greeting words of peace as we say it in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
You know. Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made.